Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com with match number 4. Match number 5, actually. One of my videos did not tape. Which you didn't miss much. It was this Eldrazi. Ivu getting me into Eldrazi Temple both games. Into Mimic Thought-Knot Seer. We love those draws. Anyway, this is going to be another Tooth and Nail, which we will go into... I think this is keepable. Yeah, it's keepable. This is kind of like a mulligan, but the 6 lands here, or the 6 card is actually pretty decent. We kind of have this Eternal Witness lock going on. I would love to find another, like another Utopia Sprawl. So it's going to be Goblins, which is meh. Post Sideboard, we have a very good matchup versus it. It's very hard for him to deal with Thragtusk, Primal Commands, and Coursers. There's a Voyaging Satyr. Next turn, I think I just throw out our Eternal Witness. So he's off to a pretty good start. Memnite. Okay, so this is going to be the more Kadatha Red version. Gives him haste, tax in. So now that we really need to put out the Eternal Witness, I believe. So I'm actually going to give it a target. And then we'll block the... oh, they have Trample from the Legion Loyalists, so we'll just block. Maybe I don't block here, because I just save 1 damage. Yeah, I don't block. I try to get a Nykthos trying to Nyx. Alright, so we need a Hail Mary. That is not a Hail Mary. We can prime 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't quite Primal Command, so we can Garruk, though. And Garruk can untap to put a Voyaging Satyr out, but I think I'd rather just have a 3/3. And then pass. And he only has 1 more card left in hand. I hope it's not another Bushwhacker. And he just passes. Alright, so I think we're in great shape now, because we're just going to put a card back on top of his library and gain 7. There's another Garruk. So gain 7 life and put target. So gain 7, put a mountain back on top. And we'll be able to Voyaging Satyr here. And then pass. So it shouldn't be any different than last turn, because all I did last turn was put out a mountain. So we're in great shape now. It's another Voyaging Satyr. I can't do... Yes, I can do both. So let's see. 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is all I can do. So no, can't quite do Emrakul. Unless does Garruk actually generate up? It doesn't generate up mana quite yet. So put a 3/3 beast out. The problem with Legion Loyalists is I can't block with tokens. And I don't think I quite put out the other Garruk. Yeah, I can't even block with tokens, so I need to tack in with tokens. But Garruk still doesn't net me up anything. I'd rather have another Garruk next turn, and then we can kill him on the backswing if he doesn't kill us by untapping lands. Or do we care? So I'd have to untap if I don't want to take... Yeah, I don't want to take damage, so we'll untap. And swing with the beast. Alright, so next turn he's dead if he threw the Garruk. So, yeah. Yep, so we will just ult Garruk and swing with everything. Still don't think I have enough for Emrakul. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, do we have enough? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is all I'm... Did I do this right? So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ugh. That was bad. So not quite there. All right. We will just ult Garruk. And swing in. And that should do it. He'll have trample. They're all huge. He has 1 card in hand. He's trying to decide how to block. He can only absorb 4 damage. He's at 17. Yeah. All right. So lucky that he had all lands there with a mold to... Did he mold to 5? We'll bring in the Thragtusks and the Spellskites and the Ooze. Take out completely out the combo. It's very, very terrible in this one. I think that we can bring in Eidolons. They're better than anything. It's either Eidolon or Garruk Primal Hunter. And I'm thinking Eidolon will help get us to where we need to go. We can take out the Overgrowth, so that makes it easy. I don't think we take out Beast Within. Legion Loyalist is a bit rough to deal with. Creeping Corrosion, he's going to run Signal Pests and Memnites. So, but it'll kill my own Spellskite. So I think that just running maybe just a 1 of Overgrowth, and then we can bring in... I don't think there's anything we care about. A 6 Slime's okay. It's just too late. I'd rather have this little lineup. Very good hand. That's decent. No life gain, but it's decent. Foundry Denizen, that's the best 1-drop for this deck. It gets huge on turn. We'll go ahead and just... Yeah, Stomping Ground's a play tapped. And we have Spellskite next turn. Spellskite's just a 0-4 blocker. That's it. That's the only point that's in here. No turn 2 play. That's interesting. There's an Oath of Nissa we would have liked out earlier. So this is going to at least eat a Lightning Bolt. It can eat a Goblin Grenade for less damage. And next turn we have a Voyaging Satyr and an Oath of Nissa that I hope can find something relevant like a Thragtusk or an Ooze or a Courser. Any one of those is fine. I could also go Overgrowth next turn and just have Overgrowth and ready for a Primal Command and then just put stuff back on top of his library and gain 7. Or search for a Thragtusk. So there's the Signal Pest. No Bushwhacker. Yeah, if he wants to use a Lightning Bolt, that's fine. He does not. Okay. So there's Eternal Witness. That's kind of... I don't know if Voyaging Satyr... Like, I worry about Legion Loyalist. I think it's just Overgrowth. Because I could go Oath of Nissa and Voyaging Satyr. Yeah, I think it's just Overgrowth. And then pass. Crazy hasn't played anything else. I have not a clue what he has in his hand. He's just holding up ways for me not to gain life. But, I mean, this is a time walk for green with to put a land back on top of their library. Well, almost a time walk. And Spellskite's gonna... He's getting land flooded again. And once again, we'll block. He could have No, it could have Searing Blood is what I was thinking of. So he didn't play anything last turn, so I think it's just put a mountain back on top and gain 7 life. Or actually just go Tutor. He's got all of his... Yeah, it's Tutor because he could have some anti-life. So put target non-creature permanent back on top of his Loner's library and search your library for a creature card. So back on top and search. And I think I'm just going to go get a Thragtusk. And we'll Oath. And I think Courser is actually the right play here. Garruk can really make our hand go nuts. Let me get Courser. So he has to draw the mountain. He didn't play anything last turn, so I don't think it's going to be much different this turn. He's trying to keep up Thragtusk. He's got a way for me not to gain life is what he's doing. So we're going to get it out of here with the Courser. Oh, maybe he doesn't have it. So we will, I think, just double Voyaging Satyr here. And then pass the turn. And we can protect these. I think he's got to be a little more aggressive on his mulligans. You do not want to keep this many lands in a hand. I mean, this is definitely not ideal for... Hit a Wooded Foothills, and we have a Primal Command coming up, which is exactly what we want. He hasn't... Well, we'll throw out the Thragtusk. Alright, he doesn't have it. I was worried about a Skullcrack in his hand this entire time. So now we can just go nuts here. Primal Command is going to get shifted anyway. So I think we can just crack this. And then we will Eternal Witness. For Primal Command. And then untap, tap, untap, tap, non-creature and search again. Which can go get us another Eternal Witness. And then play an Arbor Elf. And then attack in with the Courser. And he scoops. Which is, yeah, the way too flooded for the Goblins, but you can see how the deck works when you sideboard out your combo versus hyper aggressive decks. You can play a very, very high value based strategy. In fact, you can sideboard even more aggressively, or put a more aggressive sideboard for those particular matchups. I do like the sideboard right now. I think it's very, very well positioned for the metagame. Maybe another Primal Command. You can also go there's some fog effects you can go in your sideboard, as well as a few other ways to gain life. But I think that through Courser and Thragtusk is still the best way to gain life, even in Modern. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. We'll go on to the wrap-up. This is Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching. Hi there, it's Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. We're at the wrap-up video for the Nykthos Shrine of Nyx Oath of Nissa Tooth and Nail. And I do like this version. I like the Nykthos Shrine of Nyx, giving it a bit more consistency if they do try to destroy the Overgrowth and Utopia Sprawls. I don't know, a lot of those matchups were, like, I would even admit the Infect and the Goblins and the Elf matchups were pretty much bad draws all around for our opponents. We got very, very, very lucky in some of those games, but we didn't have the most optimal draws either. You did see some explosive draws by Tooth and Nail and the post-sideboard when you go into a value-based deck. So I think it's a decently positioned deck. Now, this is, once again, my fun deck. It's not my competitive deck. I usually don't take this to a larger tournament. I'll take this to a Friday Night Magic. I'll play this kind of casually here on MTG. It's not a deck that I really have that much faith in. It's easy to shut down with a ton of different strategies. But you never know. It could actually become a tier 1 deck if get another 1-drop that untaps a land would be ideal. Like Voyaging Satyr's very, very iffy in this deck, as you want it to come out turn 1 or at least come out turn 2 after you've played a Utopia Sprawl, and then you can play a 1-drop on turn 2, like 2 1-drops on turn 2, and then you can have a Tooth and Nail as quick as turn 3. So Voyaging Satyr is kind of the awkward card in this deck. Other than it can untap the Nykthos Shrine of Nyx, so keep that in mind. All right, so I don't think I'd make any changes to this. The Blood Moon, we didn't really get to see it in action. I did lock down an Eldrazi No, I didn't. The game I won versus Eldrazi kept a hand of just Eye of Ugin and didn't draw in his second land, and we just beat him down. And I didn't record that match because it was I did a little bit of rage quitting. So the 2 games I lost was the Eye of Ugin and Eldrazi Temple, and that's just ridiculous. We're all sick of that draw where they can barf out Eldrazi Mimics turn 1, and then turn 2 barf out a Thought-Knot Seer, and then swing in for just insane amount of damage, and then you got Reality Smasher coming up after that. So post-ban, the metagame is going to switch a ton. I think it's going to get less hyper-aggressive. In fact, Goblins, those type of decks, Anafenza and company, those decks are going to have a lot less play because they're decent versus Eldrazi. I'm going to say that again, they're decent. There isn't any match that's good versus Eldrazi, and that's why there's going to be an upcoming ban. If any deck goes up against the first turn Eye of Ugin, second turn Eldrazi Temple, it's very, very, very tough for any deck to come back from that, especially if there's an Eyeless Ones or Eldrazi Mimics on turn 1. So right now, we have a metagame that is at least decks that can compete with a normal Eldrazi draw, which is like a first turn Eldrazi Temple and only 1 Mimic or Endless One out, and then a turn 2 just regular land, and then they have to wait till turn 3 to put a Thought-Knot Seer. Those type of decks can be beat by Goblins or Anafenza and company, or there's some UI control decks that can do that. But once Eldrazi's out of the mix, I really expect Delver or the red-blue tempo decks to come back, because those decks do very well against the Anafenza and company decks, against the Elves and Goblins and Infect. Those do very well against those type of decks, and they also do pretty well against the control decks. So the metagame is going to switch a ton, and I actually don't like Tooth and Nail versus blue-red tempo. So it's another deck that probably you can play right now because it can actually compete with Eldrazi, besides the obscene draw, and it can actually compete with the hyper-aggressive draws you saw in this video series. But I think that after Eldrazi are banned, I'm going to go back to probably Soul Sisters to my go-to deck. I might actually try some more Eidolon proc. I prefer Soul Sisters a little bit over Eidolon proc when there are blue-red. I think that that's when Soul Sisters really, really shines as blue-red tempo decks or Jund-based decks, as Auric Champion is just a powerhouse in that match. So anyway, just I'll let you know if you come follow my channel. We talk about the metagame quite a bit. There have been times where I've quote unquote gone infinite on MTGO running Soul Sisters. Just usually would win a lot of dailies and leagues just with when Delver decks are huge. So we'll keep our eye on it. Living End, I think, is also going to get hurt a lot after the Eldrazi go away, as people will just start putting more graveyard hate. They'll have some more slots for it, but should open up the metagame quite a bit after Eldrazi's gone. I actually think that the metagame is quite diverse. In Paper, that not so much, as you can see that Paper, the last few tournaments have just been dominated by Eldrazi, but MTGO, it's actually not been as dominant as other formats in the past. So when Jund was dominant, it had a higher percentage of the metagame than I'd think all the Eldrazi. And the Eldrazi decks do have a little bit of diversity within their own archetype. There's red-green, there's blue-red, there's white-blue, there's black, there's white-black. I mean, you name it, there's a lot of different combinations, which is kind of fun to see. So I don't mind it as much as say, when Jund was super dominant, or some of these other decks in the past. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this match. This has been Kevin with GatheringMagic.com. Thanks for watching.